What does economic development actually look like? It's not a press release. It's not a ribbon cutting. It's 5 people in a room who made the decision to build a company and then had the courage to stand in front of strangers and tell them why it matters. That's what accelerators do. They take the raw material of a founder's vision and turn it into something investable, scalable, and real. They teach scientists how to pitch. They show engineers how to find a customer. They help educators become CEOs. And when that happens inside a place like Cheyenne, Wyoming, it doesn't just build a company, it builds an economy. gBETA is Generator's pre-accelerator program, and this spring, 5 founders from across the state came through it. In 7 weeks, they met with more than 30 mentors, pitched to 27 investors, and walked out the other side with something they didn't have before: clarity. gBETA have run 11 cohorts in Cheyenne so far, and now here's an amazing stat for you. Every dollar invested by partners into this program has unlocked $59 in follow-on funding raised by founders in these cohorts. In this video, you're going to meet 5 of them. A robotics founder building the first truly automated home kitchen appliance. A team of scientists racing to protect global agriculture from resistant fungal disease. A diabetic inventor who got tired of leaving adventures behind and built a solar-powered solution for everyone who carries insulin. An energy entrepreneur rethinking how we power the data centers that run the modern world. And 2 educators who built an AI reading platform inside a real classroom for students that every other tool has left behind. 5 very different companies, 5 very different problems, all of them worth solving, and just one accelerator that believed in them before anyone else did. This is what economic development really looks like.
I'm Bailey Evans. I'm the gBETA Wyoming Managing Director at Generator. gBETA Wyoming is a 7-week accelerator. So we take 5 companies at a time from across the state of Wyoming and help them understand the math, milestones, metrics of venture capital. Do you want venture capital? How much do you need? When should you raise? How do you meet investors? All of those kinds of questions.
My name is Kishore, and I'm the CEO of Foodease. Foodease is an automated cooking countertop robot. I came in as an angel investor. So this idea was started by 3 college kids in Denver. And they reached out they had a mentor whose name is Brian Gross. And they were looking for funding. So I came in as an angel investor, but with my previous experience in business for the last 10 years, I stepped up and I pretty much took over when they were struggling to run the operations, make the next steps. We received 330 paid pre-orders. When we looked at closely the user profiles, there were busy moms, high-tech workers, even, lack of a better word to say, disabled people who cannot stand in front of the stove. They were our customers. So we were like, this is a broader market. We're not just addressing a simple non-screen model. So we went back to the drawing board. That's where I went on full time. And we redesigned this. The original prototype was nowhere close to what we have now. And this is much more robust, and it is commercial grade ready, NFS certification ready. So even a small scale restaurants can use this as a side item. So wanted to build it strong and ready for the market.
Foodease came into this program, already having a working product. They've shipped out their paid orders and they've got feedback coming in. So now they're actually having this product in people's kitchens and it's being tested and people are cooking with it and learning, what's working, maybe what's not working so well, and they're iterating and testing on specifically the software, making sure that the recipes are working well.
I believe we need to scale faster because we want to have the first movers advantage in this category. This is a brand new category. There is a learning curve, so we need a lot of resources to educate and help understand what the benefits of this is. So yeah, no, the timing is important. We have a couple early stage competitors that are in pre-order stage, much more expensive than what our price points are, but we still want to take no chances of giving any opportunity.
They understand better now what investors could do for them, how much they might want to raise and why and when and all of those kinds of questions that they came into the program sort of thinking we think investment might work for us, but not necessarily a lot of detail beyond that. So I think we helped them a lot with that.
Even though I have experience in business, I do not have any experience in pitching or selling. I'm an IT engineer for 20 years. So that was a new learning to me. And also Bailey was instrumental in helping us creating a structure, like how one after the other that comes into play and how do you build on top of it. So that was really helpful. And it also makes me feel more confident when I'm pitching because I know what goes after. It's like filling all the gaps that I had in the past. So that was very helpful. Any stage, I think if you haven't gone through an accelerator program, it will be a tremendous help to benefit from.
My name is Seung-mi Jung, and I'm from Korea, and I'm a co-founder of InnoCorlix. So we are developing novel antifungal compounds and its screening platform in the company. So modern agriculture is facing a very crisis in a fungal resistant problem. Almost all fungi have developing resistance against the current available fungicide. We are all scientists. We've been studying fungal biology and protein engineering and host microbe interaction as well. And then we find a very nice target which doesn't exist in the existing fungicide, and we found that that's really good target to develop a next generation fungicide. That's incredibly useful for us.
Corlix is really fun to work with because they self-described 4 nerdy scientists that kind of think they have this idea for a spinoff, and they do. They're onto something for sure, but they don't have a lot of business background. I mean, I think they will be the first to say they don't really know what it takes to build a business. They know how to research and they know how to test and they know how to use the scientific method, which we lean on a little bit in startup iteration, and so they're definitely onto something, and it's been really fun to help them understand, okay, I don't know anything about the science of the product that you're working on, but I do know about, how do you find customers? Who's your first customer going to be? How are you going to reach them? And so we talked a lot about just sort of taking those baby steps to get to where they want to go.
At that time, when we started the company, we are looking for this kind of training program in the field because we don't have any idea for develop the business. So at that time, we met Bailey in somewhere conference like that, and she recommended us, maybe you can apply for this gBETA program, and we applied it and we got it. So for the 7 weeks, it is incredible. They always give us very practical advice and practical way to develop the program, to develop the business. The most helpful moment for us was mentorship and investor swarm as well. So even just like lunch and learn program, this mentorship, we can get very, very practical advice, especially for us, for this kind of for the scientists, they're always working in very narrow area. We spend entire our life in just academia field. It's totally different from business. But even though we are old, but we don't have any experience in the social networking or business kind of things. And that mentorship was really helpful for that kind of perspective.
Part of it is confidence. Part of it is just we got accepted into this rather exclusive program because we're onto something cool. And now, 7 weeks later, they've learned that they can do this. That we've built up their confidence a bit, and that's been really fun to see. And how do you have those conversations with investors? How do you speak their language a little bit? How do you price a product like that that's come from the lab? How do you find 2, 3, 4 customers, or maybe we want to license this to one customer who will then go on and sell it broadly. So there's a lot of questions to answer, and I think maybe we helped them identify what are those questions. Even if we don't know the answers yet, they now know what they don't know.
I'm Chris Allen, and I am the founder and inventor of the SolaraPod. It's a solar-powered insulin cooling device. You can charge it just with a C-port, and that'll give you about a week's worth of power. But when you're outside backpacking or camping, it'll pull in sunlight and keep your insulin cold. It's sitting on top of a Yeti cup right now, but we plan to have our own container. But your insulin goes into the cup, and then the cap is basically the cooling device. My only competitors are people that have bottles with ice packs, something that you have to throw in the freezer. And that even has the risk of freezing your insulin. So that's pretty much it. And, even then, it's not really contained or safe. I've lost insulin even riding my bike around town, and then was in a panic trying to get a new batch. Living in Wyoming, I grew up, my father was an outdoorsman, he a butcher, hunter, but I was diagnosed with diabetes probably around the age of 13, and I stayed inside. I was too scared to go out, was afraid of my medication going bad or losing my medication, and just with, snowstorms and the way the world is right now, I was thinking, how long could I make it without insulin? And that's where the SolaraPod came from.
I think for him, this program was also a lot of confidence building. I think he built this cool prototype. It worked for him, and he thought, I bet this could work for other people. And as soon as he explained it to me, I was like, absolutely, you're onto something. This is the kind of thing that is perfect for the startup path, because he built something that he knew from personal experience that there was a need for. And he knew there were a lot of people out there who needed it. And he had the experience to build this product. And so it's one of those great moments of, why doesn't this exist already? And he built something that works and is exciting. He also doesn't have a lot of business, startup savviness. And I think we helped him understand all of that, and that built his confidence to be able to speak to investors and tell his story and things like that too.
I had heard about gBETA before. I attended the last pitch event. I work here at Laramie County Community College. I manage the Concept Forge, the advanced makerspace, and I just decided to come to the last pitch event. And after seeing all the pitches, I thought, maybe I would apply, and hopefully they would go for my product, and luckily they did. It's been great. It allowed me to have structure. The mentors were great. They gave me a lot of great feedback, and I don't think without them I'd be where I am today with the product. And even the investor swarms, just helping me with guidance, questioning my own design, and then allowing me to provide feedback to them. So yeah, it's been great. A lot of the investors, they thought that I could apply for some grants. They definitely think it being a medical type of product, that there may be some grants out there or some diabetic research grants. I plan to apply for the Kickstart Wyoming grant once it is live, and hopefully start making these here in Wyoming and shipping them out.
I think he was one of those that wasn't sure, is investment really what I want? Do I need investment? What would I use it for? And so yeah, I think it's another case of, like, we may not have answered all of the questions, but we have asked the questions. And maybe he won't need venture funding. Maybe he can just take pre-orders. Maybe he can do a Kickstart campaign and build it and own it all himself and not have to take investment. Or maybe an investor that's a perfect fit will come along and be able to accelerate him faster than he could do on his own. And then I think also he's learned he needs a team. Like, he needs a lot of people with a lot of experience around him, an advisory board and things like that. And so yeah, it's been fun to see. Yeah. And he's one of those that, again, like you said, it's a simple thing to explain. And that's actually kind of my favorite type of pitch to help coach is, well, you pitched this in 4 minutes. You don't need 5 or 6 minutes. And that's great. We don't need to add just for the sake of adding on.
My name is Silvanos Kafu-Agosu, and I'm co-founder of Senegas. We develop on-site scalable power solutions for AI data centers. Student teams across the US were invited to submit proposal on techno-economic models to power AI data centers. And our team made it to the top 4. And we presented our model to the judges, and we were awarded, we were deemed the champion of the competition, and we won the 4,000 prize. So from this conceptual phase, we decided to go ahead to make this idea from concept to real life deployable solutions. Yeah. Since we wanted to move from conceptual to deployable, we thought that yes, startup is a good place to start from, and we were looking for accelerators program to join about. And yes, we searched and we saw that yes, we have gBETA Wyoming, which is provide huge support for Wyoming grounded companies, and that's why we applied and we got into it, and we are very excited.
He's a PhD student, and he has spent his time writing research papers and doing all of this very deep research. And so he took this research to this competition and won this contest, and I think that sort of sparked this idea in him, like, oh, this could be something. This could be a startup. This could be something that people want. And so, he came into gBETA a little bit like exploring the options, and I think he came in. I think the gBETA program helped, again, ask some questions that perhaps he hadn't thought of, like, okay, you have all of this research, but are you ready to actually like put shovels in dirt and start building natural gas power plants? And like, what is the very next step in order to be able to do that? You need relationships with these data centers, and you need, big, robust relationships if they're going to give you $18 million to build these power plants on their property. So I think he understands now better the baby steps. Like I keep saying, there's lots of baby steps between a research project and then like building a natural gas power plant. And I think he understands better those baby steps now.
It's been a very long 7 weeks, yes, and we've learned a lot, right, through our lunch and learns, interacting with mentors and also investors, and this has been really helpful for us. And as a company, we've seen a lot of growth because, like, personally, we've moved from like concept, and now we've have a clear path that we can move our company from. Honestly, like looking across all the program, every aspect of the program has been a key factor for our company. And what we really appreciate most is the moderator, Bailey. She was very patient with us and helped us connect us to the right people. And the program as a whole has been really beneficial for us. The future looks bright. This program has really shaped the fate of Senegas. And as I presented earlier on, we are looking for grants to move from to accelerate the company.
I mean, gBETA was designed as kind of the prerequisite to a generator investment accelerator. So it is designed to kind of help them understand, is investment really what you want? And do you know what that means for you? And do you know what that means for your life and your family's life and this startup? There's a lot to think about. And so gBETA can really help them understand that. Once you're on the investment journey, once you're on the VC path, it's not easy to get off. You're kind of committed. Once you've taken in that first check, you owe money to people now. So you have to take that journey a little bit. And so I think gBETA can help people make that decision, and then, if that turns out to be the right decision for them, then the investment accelerator could be right for them. And so not everyone that goes through gBETA decides, we are not here to make that decision for anyone or push anyone down any one particular path. We just want them to understand what it means. Like, if you need to grow big fast and you've got competition biting at your heels, venture capital might be the right path for you. If not, grow it slow over time and own it yourself. And either path is great success. So we do choose companies that we feel like could take the venture capital path. I mean, that's what Generator is here to do. But it's not a requirement. I think I went on a tangent a bit. But yeah, when I'm selecting companies for gBETA, I'm definitely thinking about, could they potentially become an investment accelerator company?
I'm Matt Herbor, one of the co-founders of Solo Studies. Solo Studies is an AI-powered reading platform designed to support struggling readers, specifically secondary-aged students, in accessing their grade-level materials. So it really started in a Wyoming classroom, working with students and realizing that the challenges that they faced when they left our intervention space. I've been a special education teacher for about a decade now. I'm a special education coordinator, have a master's degree in special education, and a trained reading specialist in evidence-based literacy instruction. And our students, when working in our classroom, would make great progress in our space. And then they would go back to the classroom. And say you have a 5th grade student reading at a 1st or 2nd grade level. They're going back to the classroom, and it's essentially like, okay, here's a book on tape. Listen to this book as you would listen to a podcast. Or the teachers would just simply lower the expectations of those students so that they could access anything in the classroom. And we thought there has to be a better way to support these students upon their return to the classroom. So we thought of this idea alongside the students, like what would support you in accessing this, this content and these grade level reading materials without having someone sitting over your shoulder telling you every single word that you're skipping over or you're mumbling through because you're so frustrated that you just can't read that word. And so we really developed solo studies based on that idea with those students.
I think sometimes just having one person say, like, you're on to something here, keep going, keep at it. It's hard, it's gonna be hard, you're gonna get a lot of skepticism. It happens in every industry and every company. But having somebody kind of in their corner, I think, has meant a lot to them. And it's been really fun to see them. And I'm not just saying this, like, I do genuinely think that they have built something that's really going to be helpful for people.
So we were participating in Kickstart Wyoming, where we won a $50,000 grant. That was a pitch competition through the Wyoming Business Council. Bailey was on the panel of judges. So she had kept pursuing us afterwards and wanted us to apply for gBETA, which we did. And we entered an additional round of pitch competitions, and then we were accepted. It's been busy. We've been juggling working full-time jobs at the end of a school year. We both have 2-year-olds. We're both married, and we're founders on the side. And really what we're trying to do is become founders full-time. Over the past 7 weeks, we've had a series of mentorships that has really changed the vision of what we want solo studies or what we think solo studies will be able to provide, and really helped us hone in on the parent aspect. And I even include that in my pitch today. Like, the parents are frustrated and they don't know what to do. And with the exception of those parents that are able to spend $150 an hour on a reading specialist, so many families are at a loss on how to support their student in continued skill growth. And especially for students in grades 5 through 12. And so really, like, gBETA has helped us shape our vision for pursuing that as a market opportunity moving forward. And something that allows us to more easily navigate that long adopting process of school districts and navigation of certain compliances to be in the schools, to just start generating some revenue, because that's what we need at this point to keep this vision going.
To get their early customer traction and get users and get feedback in those baby steps, go directly to parents, go to your neighbors, go to your kids' parents, friends, things like that, and start getting that early feedback. Validate that this is something that works and people want and will pay for, and then take it to school districts and say, hey, we've got users that are loving this. You need it in your schools. So those baby steps and identifying those, I think, have been helpful.
We're really pursuing partnerships with either universities or specific schools for students with dyslexia. We're trying to go that route. I think through this process too, we met with 25 investors, with the exception of finding that perfect angel investor that we want to have that connection with the intrinsic drive of, like, what our mission is and what our values are for our product. We're still seeking funding. We're seeking the right partnership with either an angel investor, a university, or a partnership with one of those schools that I mentioned, because it just aligns with what our vision is. And that's another thing that we took away from gBETA, because we were building the plane as we were flying it really at the start of this. And we thought VC money was the only way, and this has helped us kind of explore other avenues.
Well, I hope you enjoyed getting to know some of the latest cohort of gBETA Wyoming. What stands out to me the most is that each of these companies could be emerging from San Francisco or New York City, right? They are innovative ideas that are so young, still in their infancy. And gBETA has really helped to give them a chance to get to that next level. The lack of confidence that you see founders in these areas that aren't necessarily known for being innovation hubs is something that can be remedied by incredible programs like gBETA. So if you are a city or a town that's thinking, how do I bring more jobs to my local community? How do I help innovation spark and take place where I live? Well, I would suggest that you take a look at the world of accelerators, and why not start with Generator and the incredible gBETA program. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have. Thanks, everyone.